You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the number one horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
I am Coach Jen in Ocala, Florida, and you are listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for December 9th, episode 3832. Well, Karen and Glenn are out and about gathering intel for upcoming episodes, so sit back and enjoy this classic from the Hidden Audio Vaults, originally posted way back in 2018. And completing the challenge is the challenge. You're an endurance rider.
Let me ride through the wide open country.
That's right, it is Tuesday morning, and it is the second Tuesday of the month, which means Karen is here with the Endurance episode, and we have a special one for you today. As requested, we are going to be doing a little Endurance 101, aren't we?
We sure are. We're going to walk people through their first ride, everything they need to know.
Well, and this started when Jennifer decided to do her first endurance ride, and she, I think, did a 15-miler, and she was so confused about acronyms and what to do where and vet checks and things like that. It was like, you know, I think that anybody that's done endurance for a while takes that all for granted and doesn't realize it's all brand new to people.
Exactly. There's a lot to know, and you can read and read and read and read, but until you see it in action and how things actually take place and how it unfolds, you got to learn all that stuff. And it does take a while, and it can be really confusing because every ride is laid out a little bit differently as far as logistics go. So, it's like you said, the rest of us, we get so used to doing things and that we know what to ask for or what to look for, whereas a new person has no idea.
Well, Jennifer's ready to stop you at a moment's notice if you guys get over beginners' heads. So
okay.
She's prepared.
That's right.
That's right. So, Jennifer, what is coming up? What's the rest of the show?
Well, coming up on today's Endurance episode, as you said, it's Endurance 101, and Karen's going to be explaining at least some of the thousands of acronyms used by endurance riders. And when she accidentally uses an acronym or phrase unfamiliar to non-endurance riders, this is what's going to happen. She's going to have to stop and explain it to me because there's plenty of them. And then next up, Patti Stedman has been recruited, and she's here with everything you need to know to get through your first endurance ride. Hello, I need to sign up for that. And then after the break, Heather Accardo, also known as Flash, is here, and she's going to chat about her bid for the Mongol Derby. So stay tuned for the fray, folks.
All right, what have you been up to?
Well, I got to crew for my junior rider on a 50 Saturday on a local ride, and Kaylee and Bo finished in 9th place.
Now, was this the first time she was out without you?
Yes.
No babysitter, training wheels were off.
Exactly. Well, she wasn't on her own. She still had a sponsor. She had a really nice local person who offered to take her, and they had a really nice time together. It was warm and windy. I believe there were up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. So we were getting pretty wind blown. I'm sure they were wind blown out on the trail too. But they did very well. They just sort of did a medium speed and were able to finish in the top 10. Wow. And Kaylee was able to show for best condition. She was so excited because she's never had that chance before. And of course, best condition went to like the first place horse, which was way ahead, but it was great experience for her to get to do that and go through the whole process. Every time she does a ride, she's learning new stuff.
And so how old is she again? 12?
Great. She's 11.
11. Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. So now and that's one thing about endurance is there isn't age classifications there are juniors, but most rides are everybody, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We do go by weight divisions.
Right. That's what. Mainly. See, this is the first lesson in Endurance 101. Explain how that works.
So is the weight the horse or the rider or the both?
The rider and the rider's tack together.
So it's like jockeys almost.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So now what are the weight divisions? Explain how that works.
Okay, well, we have the weight division. There's juniors, then there's lightweight, featherweight, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. And so
like
the
boxing.
juniors,
It sounds like boxing.
exactly. And so they divide them into the different categories, based upon the weights. And then, of course, for the juniors, anyone, I believe, that's under 18, because they need to be with a sponsor. Now, a junior can get a letter if their parents request it. Once the junior reaches, I believe it's 400 miles. I don't know if that's changed over the years. As soon as they're 14 and they've got like 400 miles or more, they can get a letter that will allow them to ride unsponsored on their own. And I've had juniors
now, sponsored
do
simply
that.
means that they have to be with
With an
a
adult.
designated adult rider.
Exactly.
And that has to be a designated adult, which is versus, I'm going to hang out with you now, and then I'm going to go faster, and then I'm going to hang out with that other person. It's that one person.
Exactly, because everybody has to sign releases and that sort of stuff, typically with the ride entry
Now,
forms.
do you weigh in before each ride?
No, the only time you really need to weigh in is if you are showing for best condition, because they use that in the calculations to figure out your scoring. And the best condition scoring is based on time, your weight, your placing, and then your vet score.
How quickly your horse recovers and all of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And right.
So when you sign up for an endurance ride, you're signing up for the first time. Do they ask your weight?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe with like the limited distance category, the weight divisions aren't really calculated as separate weight divisions like they are in the endurance category. Like if you look in the point standings, you'll see, say for the West region where I'm at, you'll see it separated by the juniors, the featherweights, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. And then you see limited distance as its own category, but they're not separated by the weight divisions.
Okay. So, all right. Well, there you go. There's first 101 of the day. Now, also, Chief, who's one of your like million-mile horses, was coming off an injury, right?
Yes, we were doing some heat training, and of course, we've had the strangest weather. Like this week, here we are in the middle of June. It's just now starting to get warm. And so we were riding the horses in like 50-degree weather when it was breezy and cold. And so we were trying to up our heat training by working the horses in the arena with a blanket on. And what that does is it allows them to heat up and get sweaty, and then their body starts to adapt to dealing with the heat, and it helps improve their recoveries and gets them better prepared for the rides we are planning or have done with them that are going to be a lot hotter than where we've had to train. Well, we pulled Chief's blanket off and came in the house for a little bit, did a couple things to get ready, went back out, and we're going to head out on a ride. And he was kind of like walking like he was in The Walking Dead. He was like his back legs sort of like, there's something really wrong. And so I hopped off of him and checked it out. And he had this kind of like a muscle knot on his left hind, kind of high up. So he got a muscle cramp, I'm assuming because he got cold after being heated up like he did, which that's not something that's ever happened. But he's 23 years old, and I'm definitely going to be a lot more careful. So I took him over to the vet and had it ultrasounded, and the vet thought it was a minor injury and that it should be fine in probably about 3 weeks. He thought it was no big deal at all. And so it's been about 6 weeks, 7 weeks now. We've been working him regularly, riding him, and he's starting to look pretty good again. So we're planning on a ride this next weekend to take him to, and we'll see how that goes.
All right, very good. And you also have kicked up the cuteness factor about 1,000-fold.
Oh, with the baby quail. Yes, I found a nest in my barn, and at first I wasn't sure what it was, and then I figured out quickly that it was actually a quail, and the both of the parents were there. They were running around squawking at me anytime I tried to look at the nest. I discovered it after, obviously, she had been there a while because I was working my way through the hay. She had obviously been there probably for a month and a half or more in order to lay that many eggs. And they were pretty much ready to hatch from the time I found them. They hatched like 2 days later, and I set up a camera out there, which was really kind of cool. So we were able to see the little babies, and they hatched, and about probably 4 hours later, the mom hustled them all off out of the nest, and they disappeared underneath my hay in the pallets. And every so often I get a glimpse of one of them. But yes, they were pretty darn cute.
I bet.
Pretty darn cute. I didn't know that as a bird that the quails, when they hatch, they're completely self-sufficient.
Oh, really?
They can live on their own. They don't need the parents to feed them.
Huh. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, now also, we have an announcement that came out in the last week about the U.S. endurance team for WAG, and they have kind of picked a short list, which is a long short list.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, I think with endurance too, they probably pick a longer list because horses getting hurt, or it's more common, or coming up not ready. So that's why the list is a little bit longer. Do you want to run down through them and just talk about the ones that you do know?
Sure. And I apologize in advance for not pronouncing the name correctly.
Let's just make it an overall apology. If it's an Arabian horse's name, we're probably going to screw it up. So there's that. I'd hate to be an announcer at an Arabian show. That must be awful.
The worst is at the year-end award ceremony for AERC when they have to list
do all those
and
names.
name the names from the whole entire United States of all the horses placing in standings. Yes. Okay. Daniel Kraus on AM Mysterious Mopsa, Aaron Champion on Kontiki, Gwen Hall on Size Doesn't Matter.
Okay, she might win the award for best name. We're going to have to see.
Yes, that's a good one. Cameron Holzer on Kong, Aaron Ennis on two horses, looks like Augie and Tuscarora John, Windsor Mundy on Amtrak, Ellen Olson on Savannah Night, and that was pending meeting the COC at Fort Howes, which was last weekend. And I haven't seen the results of that posted yet to know if she qualified or not. Heather Reynolds riding RTR Rimfire's Etta. Jeremy Reynolds riding Rick Tick, who is also pending meeting his COC at Fort Howes. Kelsey Russell on Fireman Gold. Ray Shumade Tysor on Dia Michelangelo. I think I'm having more trouble with the people's names. Hannah Summers on Salome. Cheryl Van Dusen on Hoover the Mover. That's a good one too.
I love that name. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So who do you know? Well, obviously we know the Reynolds. They've been on the show before. They're a couple, husband and wife, and they've been competing FEI level for a long time.
Right.
So,
And I met Hannah at 20 Mule Team this year. She was camped next to us.
Okay.
I think she's one of the only or very few West Coast people on the list.
That would be Hannah Summers.
Unless you count the Reynolds, who are from the West Coast but are now in Florida.
Right.
But most of the others, I believe, are from, Central or Southeast or Northeast region riders.
Yeah, not too far from us, actually.
Right.
Yeah. So anybody else?
Well, let's see. I know Cameron and some of the others over the years I've met. Yes, we're going to need to get some of these people on and talk to them and see how things are going to going with their plans for
Yeah.
WEG.
And they'll be doing
Yes.
some training and stuff too. After the list gets whittled down, there'll be a team of 4. And then I don't know that they're allowing individuals this year. So I think that's one of the changes that's been made. So it'll probably just be the team. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But we'll let you know as we learn what's going on there. Now, to continue with Endurance 101 today in your classroom, we have Professor Karen here today, and we are all the students. So, Professor Karen, one of the things that Jennifer was so confused by at this last ride was all the acronyms for everything. And now, you have some acronyms that are official, and then some that are unofficial.
Not so official.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right. Well, let's start with the DIMR, which stands for Distance Induced Mental Retardation.
And that happens after what mile marker?
It's different for everybody. It depends on the day.
That's right. It's very personal.
Right. And then there is ADR, which is for your horse, although you could apply this to a rider as well. Ain't doing right.
You've used ADR before. Apparently, that's fairly common. Ain't doing right. Yeah.
And then another one that is also pretty common and popular, especially with the vets, because Dr. Jamie Kerr, who we've interviewed before, talked about this. EDPP, which stands for eating, drinking, peeing, pooping. And what the vets want to know is your horse EDPP.
Oh, so you get asked
See,
that.
the vet did that.
He did that? You had no idea what he was talking about.
I come in and he goes, ED, and I'm going, what?
What's
I
that?
don't know what that means. I don't know if you're doing that or not.
Is it good or bad? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, now you know. EDPP is an important one. You will be asked.
Exactly. And then here's a fun one. The word crew. It stands for can't remember everything, woman.
That's the horse husband saying right there.
I'm sure a horse husband
Yeah.
did come up with that one.
Okay,
sometime
I am
ago.
adopting that one for everyday life right there. Crew. I like that.
Yes, crew.
Can't remember everything, woman. I like that.
Crew.
I learned something
Exactly.
today.
Exactly. And then the weight divisions, we have abbreviations for. Junior, it's either usually just a J. Everybody knows the J means junior. And then FW for featherweight, LW for lightweight, MW for middleweight, and HW for heavyweight. And then we also have our pool codes, which are also
Now,
abbreviations.
wait. Why? What is a pull code first?
A pool code, if for some reason you fail to complete a ride, you're given a
There you
pool
go.
code as the reason. And one of the first
like in
reasons,
eventing, a pull code would be you fell off on cross country, you had too many runouts. The reason you were eliminated if you were an event rider, or the reason you were eliminated from the class. Okay.
Right. Caught drinking
Right,
bourbon on the course, stuff like that.
Yeah.
right, like falling off and not finishing because of that would be a rider option pool, which is RO.
Okay.
Oh,
Then-
how nice that they say rider option. You fell off the darn horse.
Well, they don't want to put that on there.
There's no wimped out code. Sorry.
Is there a DA for dumbass? Is there a code for that? No.
No, sorry.
Okay. All right, let's go over what the codes actually are. We're confusing people.
So we have rider option, and then if the vet finds something wrong with your horse during the vet check, L for lameness, and generally that means it's like a grade 3 consistent lameness that you would be pulled. M for metabolic, which means your horse either fails to recover or just is ADR.
Ain't doing right. Okay, I learned.
Right. There we go.
Gotcha. Then there's also one called SF, which is surface factors. And that could be because your horse got, say, a girth gall or a stick poked him in the leg and injured him. And he's perfectly fine otherwise, but, maybe you don't want to take him back out on the course if he's going to need stitches or he's bleeding, or you just don't want to risk making something worse. That would be a surface factors pool. Then we have OT, which is overtime, which, it doesn't necessarily mean you've exceeded the entire time that's allowed. It just means that you're going so slow you don't have any chance of making it.
Okay.
So there's
Now,
overtime.
is overtime something that the rider chooses or one of the judges choose?
It can be both. For example, on the ride,
Either. Okay.
yes, like Tevis, they will give you suggested cutoff times. And if you're pretty close to those, then you're okay. But if you're like way behind, so far into the ride, their suggested cutoff times, then there's really no chance you're going to make it the rest of the way. And so then you will get an overtime pull.
I'm assuming that more OTs are because of the rider being ADR.
Probably so.
Okay.
Yes. Or just, not being completely prepared. Or it could also be because I was just going to say that.
They got lost. Yeah.
Yes. And then we have the DQ.
Dressage queen?
Dressage queen?
Yes.
Do you have a dressage queen in category in your endurance?
Disqualified, which could mean they did the course wrong, or maybe they were rude to somebody or whatever.
There was a fist fight. He got disqualified. Okay, we had that a while back. Got it.
That could happen. Yes. And then we have just the letter C, which means completion only. And that could be a variety of things. It could mean that the course got tampered with and the rider did the whole ride, but did it out of order. And in that case, the ride manager has the authority to grant you a completion only. Which
now,
means
question here.
Mm-hmm.
I rode in the, I forget if they called it limited or introductory, but I rode in the putt-putt short stirrup class. So my division doesn't get scored and placed first, second, third, fourth. It's just you either finished or you didn't. Would my score sheet also reflect C because that's the only option, either complete or not?
It just depends how the ride manager
or depends on how they want to do it.
Introductory ride. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we've got the rider option choices as well, which means if your horse is a little bit off, but not enough for the vet to pull him, but you're still thinking, I got another 20 miles to go and it's really tough out there, I'm not going to keep going. Then you can rider option pull and then give it the reason, which is for a lameness or M for metabolic, just like, your horse ADR again, or he's not EDPP like he should, then you can make the choice to pull versus the vet pulling you because they're not going to let you go even if you want it.
Got it.
So if I was to compare this, again, a sport that's probably familiar to more of our listeners, eventing, this would be what they would call withdraw. You're on the cross-country course. You have one stop. You're not eliminated. You can keep right on going, but the rider chooses to withdraw because he feels something within that particular horse at that particular moment that's something's not quite right. Let's come back another day. So an RO-L for ladies or an RO-M for metabolic would be the rider saying, let's come back another day.
Right, exactly. Okay. And last year I pulled Chief from a ride. He passed the vet check and I decided to pull him because he didn't want to eat. I could tell he didn't feel right. And so the vets wanted to recheck him. And they did, and he passed again. They weren't finding anything worthy of making it be a pull on their end, but I chose that I did not want to continue.
Any other acronyms for us that we need to know?
No, I think that's probably most.
So the most important ones on there are ADR, list. Ain't doing right. Is there a DUI? No. That's not. No, that's fox hunting. I'm sorry, I got the wrong sport. I get the
wrong sport.
Wrong sport on that one.
Anything's possible, but I think endurance riders have to pay attention to the trail.
See, fox hunters, they just follow along. They just go with the group. The horse just follows. Yeah, it just follows everybody else. And I have seen a lot of DUIs fox hunting. Let me tell you.
That did happen to one of the riders this weekend. I guess he had come off twice in the first 6 miles.
And of an endurance ride?
Yes, He came off twice.
Did they blood check him? Did they breathalyze him?
He was on a green horse. Well, and then it got worse, and I'm sure this contributed to his coming off, or his coming off contributed to the next thing. Is he went through the trot by, and then
he went through the what?
The trot by.
What's that? So you got to explain that. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes, the trot by is where a lot of times the vets are out on the course somewhere, just not very far from the start, 5 miles, 10 miles out. Okay. And they watch the horses all trot by. And
I didn't know there was a trot by.
Yes, there is a thing called a trot by where it's not an entire full vet check. Some rides will have you dismount and check your pulse and then do a trot by, and then you keep going. So the vets aren't doing a full exam. Others will allow you to just trot by mounted.
Do they have a mounted cop there with little lights and sirens to pull you over if they...
Well, what you want to do is you want to be able to hear the okay or look back and see a thumbs up or a wave so that you can keep going.
Or you just blast your music and forget about them. Just go.
Just blow it on, blow on by and keep going. Well, that's what this poor guy did. I guess, who knows, maybe he was, kind of beat up from coming off a couple of times, but he went through the trot by and then he kept going. He never came back in for the vet check, so they had to go find him.
So they did get on their little horse with the lights and sirens and chase him down.
Yes, they went and chased him down and got him redirected, and yes.
Poor guy.
So I know. So that's why endurance riders have to pay attention, and coming off is not a good thing because you could.
Well, there's another thing that everybody needs to know in Endurance 101, and that is you're going to camp. So you got to, and one of the things about camping is actually keeping your horse with you at night while you're sleeping.
That is important.
It is important because it's hard to ride them the next day when they aren't there. So we have Kristen, who joins us every single month from Distance Depot, to talk to us about how to keep the horse and you together before the ride the next day. Right, Kristen? And nobody's ever seen a loose horse at endurance rides, have they?
Never.
Never. We have some good solutions, though.
Yeah, well, good. Well, that's good. And that's, it is we're laughing, but it's true. I mean, it's something that has to happen. So what are the solutions for keeping your horse contained at night while you're trying to, sleep?
Right. Well, of course, when you're just out day riding, everybody ties their horse to the side of the trailer, and that works well for the day. But if you've ever had to sleep in a horse trailer with a horse tied to the side of it with his lead clanging and clanking, you don't get a lot of sleep every time he shakes his head or takes a bite of hay. It's not the best solution for overnight for your horse. We offer some Highline kits, which some state parks will let you do. They have a safety tie for the tree so that the tree doesn't get damaged. And then, of course, you string a rope across, and we have some swivels that attach onto the rope, and your horse is tied that way. And he can sort of slide up and down the Highline. And that works out well for some horses, but most endurance riders are using some sort of fencing system or the high tie. I would say the high tie is probably one of our most popular options in today's endurance. It allows the horse, it's a flexible arm, and it allows the horse he's about 4 feet from the trailer, and he can graze, he can lay down, he can roll, all safely while still being attached to the trailer. And I think Karen can attest to this, and I'm sure your listeners, many of them know she uses a high tie system for her horses, and I believe she uses a neck collar.
Yes, I do.
So
there's
no halter? You're using the collar and it's tied to the collar?
I like the collar because I can tie my rope or have my rope be about 6 to 8 inches shorter, which greatly reduces the chance of them getting a leg over a rope and getting caught.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yes, because it rotates around their neck, and so they can still lie down and roll, but there's not as much rope to get caught as if you have them on a halter. And I've used these kind of trailer tie systems with the arms since about the 90s.
Now, is there a breakaway
with my
point? In
horses.
other words, they get in trouble, it's going to break like a halter would?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine have Velcro at the top.
Okay.
And I've also got a quick release pull on my rope as well, because you need more than one. I believe you need more than one point just for safety, because if your horse does get caught and tangled, it's not always safe to go up to them if they're still struggling.
Well, you might not, or they're in the way and you can't get to the top. I mean, one of the two. Yeah.
Exactly. But the horses adapt to those really well. My advice is just for people, just whether they use a high tie or a portable corral, is to practice ahead of time at home before you go out, camping for real, and make sure your horse is comfortable in it. And
the one thing that's hard to practice, and you should do that with this, but the one thing that's hard to practice is all of the other stuff going on, the other horses and the noise and all of that, right?
Exactly. That's why that's something we'll cover when we get Patti on the line, about figuring out where to camp when you're new, so that you don't park right next to the starting line where 50 horses are going to start and set your horse off. All these little details to know.
And one of the nice things too about the high tie is you can use your own lead, and also there are some accessories available. But yes, having the double safety is always a good idea, because like Karen said, when you're close, your horse is in trouble, it's hard to sometimes get close to them. So having those safety things in place are definitely a good idea. We also have a fence in a bag system, which is a fairly economical system, and it includes the wire tape that has, a plastic wire tape, and it has 660 feet of that, and it comes with 12 of the mounting poles that you can step into the ground, a handle, a reel to roll up the wire, and a charger. So basically everything you need to set up a portable corral. Those used to be quite popular, and still are, but many riders are opting for a more secure system, similar to the high tie, or even to our Carry Light portable corrals. Those are pretty impressive systems as well, and super easy to set up. They're made from a high-grade HDPE resin, which is similar. It looks like the PVC piping, but it isn't PVC piping. It's very strong and UV stabilized, so it won't crack or chip. And you can set this corral up alone by yourself, and it ends up making the 8-panel unit. We have a 6-panel unit and an 8-panel unit, and the 8-panel unit makes about a 12-foot round pen. But they also give you brackets, which you can mount to the side of your trailer, which actually then ends up making the system bigger, so that your corral is larger when you use that one side of your trailer and attach the pen to it. And that's also a safety feature. Then the horse, should something happen,
they're more secure.
Move it. Yes, exactly. One more thing about that Carry Light corral, it collapses down to be about a fifth of its size, so you can actually stack it in the back of your pickup. It will actually fit in the back seat if you have an empty back seat in your truck, which many of us, when going to an endurance ride, don't have that. But it will also, of course, fit in the extra stall
Kristen,
in your trailer.
there are horsewomen. None of them have any room in their car, period.
No.
There's barely room for the horse husbands.
Or the horses, in some cases.
Yes. Like everything but the kitchen sink.
Well, Kristen, give us your website and your phone number.
Okay. We are at www.thedistancedepot.com, and the toll-free number is 866-863-2349.
Well, great. Thank you for joining us, telling us about these containment systems.
Thank you. You all have a good day.
Thanks, Kristen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So practice, even the camping part,
There's really no completely guaranteed safe way to confine a horse.
Right.
They're all able to find some way to get themselves in trouble. It doesn't matter. That's just the nature of the game. That's why we talk about practicing stuff at home as much as you can.
Well, let's be honest. Every horse show you've ever gone to, there's a loose horse. It doesn't matter what kind of horse show. There's always a loose horse. It happens every time. Where it really gets dangerous is the carriage shows we've been to where the horse or team gets loose with the carriage.
Yeah, that can be good.
Yeah, no, it's never good. It never ends well. All right. Well, we're continuing with Endurance 101 with your next guest. And here we're going to get into the nitty gritty, aren't we?
Yes, next we have Patti Stedman, who has been a previous chair of the AERC Education Committee, as well as a board member. And she's always great to join us and talk about the things we all need to know about endurance riding. And today we're going to talk about everything you need to know to get through your first endurance ride. So good morning, Patti. Thank you for joining us and welcome back.
Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Glenn. Thank you for having me.
Sure, this is going to be fun. We get requests from people like Jennifer, our own Jennifer, on what does she need to know to get through her first ride when she shows up and hasn't done it before.
Oh, you know what? It's such a huge and incredible question. And to sum it all up quickly is a really hard thing to do. But one of the things that I think is most important when you arrive at that first endurance ride and you're just not quite sure that you have all your ducks in a row and you're not sure where you should be and when, I always tell new folks, no matter how prepared you are, how many mentors you had, how many books you read, how many classes you took, the reality is when you get there, what you need to remember is your outside voice, not your library voice. And you need to remember to just say, hey, I am brand new to this. What should I be doing now? There's something about the world of endurance riders that we will just sort of leave you alone doing your thing. We're doing our thing. We just kind of let you go unless you seem to be getting into real trouble, unless you speak, ask for help. And then it's the same all over the country, isn't it, Karen? Doesn't matter where you are. Endurance riders are the same. We will jump in and help.
Exactly. But like you said, you got to speak up and let people know that you need help or you're having questions and not sure what to do.
All right, so let's guide this a little bit. So, and I'm guiding this from Jennifer and hearing her talk about all of this in her lead up to her first ride. And Jennifer, by the way, so Patti knows, can you give the sound effect again? All right, that means stop what you're talking about. We don't understand. You're talking over our heads. And that's happened already a couple times today with Karen. So you're signing up for your...
We both have a bad case of unconscious incompetence. We know so little, we don't even know what we don't know.
That's right.
That is it's actually a wonderful place to be.
Well, and let's assume we're not talking about juniors. Let's assume, because most of our audience are actually, our demographic is between 35 and 55 women who are just starting to try other things for the first time. So let's assume that's our person, and they're now going to sign up for their first ride. And Jennifer went through this. She was like, I don't know what distance I should do just for my very first ride. And she chose 15 miles because she didn't want to die. I think that had less to do with the horse. So where are we at? So let's start there. We're picking the first ride. What do you recommend?
Okay. So ways to pick the first ride. And I will tell you that demographic is exactly the people who we get in our clinics. They are women between 35 and 55. They do not want to die. They do not want to kill their horse, and they have no idea where to start. When it comes to picking your first ride, I always tell people there's a couple of things. One, the closer it is to home, a lot of times the easier that is logistically. So if you go to the AERC calendar at aerc.org, you can look on the calendar and find rides that are close to you. If you have a local mentor who helps you out or a local endurance riding club, very often kind of word on the street with those people will give you a clue as to which is the best first ride to sign up for. It helps if it's a ride that has terrain, footing, conditions that your horse is accustomed to. So, for example, we have mountain horses. And for us, our horses have a real challenge going in rides that are primarily stand. It's just different for them. So those are all good ways of picking a first ride. Ideally, if you are brand new and you're a little petrified and you don't want to die and you're not sure your horse is in really good condition, A lot of the rides are now having introductory or intro or fun rides, which are designed exactly for you. They are designed for people who are just dipping their toe into the waters, and they're not quite sure if this is for them, and they want to have a pleasant start to their competition career. If not, a limited distance 25-mile ride might be an excellent place to start if there's not an introductory ride. How's that, Glenn?
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I think we went over a little bit earlier, Karen, things that, like they ask you the weight and all that stuff. We went over that when you're signing up. So now, and we've gone over in past episodes, packing lists and things like that. And I think we don't have time to get into all that today. But let's assume that you've already researched what to pack, what to bring, and you got that all figured out. And now, Jennifer, what happened when you showed up? You didn't know where to go even when you showed up, right? So take over from here.
Right, because the venue, I had never been there before. So I had to first find the secretary. And I'm used to going to traditional hunter jumper shows and events and stuff like that. And it's something I've been doing for a million years. So you just kind of know this stuff. And it was completely foreign. So when you first arrive at the venue, what is the first thing I should be doing as a total greenhorn? Do I need to find the secretary first, which is what I did? And I don't know if that's really the first thing I needed to do.
No, you sound like you did just fine. What I tell people to do is to get your vehicle someplace safe. So in other words, off the driveway if you're holding up traffic or
don't park in the middle of the road. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's not a great thing. And, open your horse's window if it's really hot so they can cool off. And then what I do generally, I tell people to do is to get out of the vehicle and in your outside voice, pronounce to everyone in camp, this is my first time at this ride. And I have no idea what to do or where to go. Someone please help. And here's the bonus. If there is someone nearby with their horse, like if you really want to create waves and become everybody's best friend, the best thing to say is, oh my goodness, that is the most beautiful horse I have ever seen in my life. I am brand new here. Tell me where to go. You will make a new friend. Because who doesn't want to hear their horse is beautiful? This is how we make friends.
Exactly.
That's an excellent strategy. I'm going to take a note there.
Outdoor voices are critical.
Outdoor voices. See, that's the mistake I made. I was trying to be cool and subtle and because, just put it out there.
No need to be cool. And what I can tell you about our sport is that I joke around that our sport has the lowest percentage per capita of jerks of any equestrian sport that I've ever done in my life. So in other words, the chances of you running into a jerk are very slim.
We have an acronym for that, by the way. We determined earlier it's DA, dumbass. So you have less of those?
Yeah. We have fewer of those per capita than other sports.
Okay.
However, when you meet them, you will know it. And then you should just immediately dismiss them as a DA and go on to the next person. That's it.
Okay.
So that is the first thing to do. But yes, you're absolutely right. First thing to do, get out, make sure you're safe, ask someone where to go and what to do next. Because every ride is just a little bit different. And if you're kind of shy or reserved and you try to figure it out on your own, a lot of times you'll find, you parked in the wrong spot, or gee, the registration.
All right, so now she's checked in with the secretary, and
so
or you parked. She was confused too, right, Jennifer? Because there was a meeting and you weren't sure about that, and she's mad.
Exactly, and nobody wants to do
and then
that.
the next thing, I got stuff from the secretary, and I had to ask her what all the stuff was, and that's for a different day because that would take an hour right there explaining what all the stuff was.
Right.
And then there's the ride meeting. Explain what a ride meeting is, when it happens, and why it's important that we go.
Oh, fantastic. So the ride briefing, so I'm a ride manager, and my ride briefing is designed to keep all of you silly people from breaking any rules that will get me kicked out of the park, and to keep my volunteers safe, and to keep you safely on trail, and to make sure that you know where there is water and help and how the logistics of the ride will run and how the trail is marked so you don't get lost in the park. So that is the purpose of my ride briefing. What I will tell you about ride managers is there's different kinds of ride managers, just like there are different kinds of elementary school teachers. Some of them are long-winded. Some of them are brief to the point of, right? So sometimes the ride manager will say, hey, listen, you've all been here before. You go out that way and I'll see you all tomorrow. And that's not enough information if you're a new rider. So most rides have a new rider briefing after the regular ride briefing. Did the ride you went to, Jennifer, have that?
Well, here's the scoop. There were about 250 people at the ride meeting.
Oh, big ride.
Well, it was a big ride, and of course, everybody's crews and friends and family were there. And when she said, how many of you are new to this? 2 people put their hands up.
You and one other person.
Me and one other. And the one other person who was new was there with their parent and sponsor. So the new ride meeting consisted of find somebody to help you.
Oh, well, yeah, that would not get an A+ from me as a great new ride briefing.
I became that girl in that I asked so many questions of the ride organizer. She finally got sick of me, and she went and she found somebody who was there to just do a training ride. They had no intention of competing for any prize. And she said, you hadn't planned on doing the second day, but can you go out on the really short distance ride with this person so she stops pestering me? And she did.
Jennifer, let me tell you something, Jennifer. You are going to do just fine. You are going to do just fine. That was exactly the right thing to do. So, yeah, if you find that you are not getting, and in defense of most ride managers, you'll find that the ride briefing is really pretty good. And so it describes to you what the trail conditions are like, where you can find water, how the pulse and vet checks will be run. And they do a pretty good job describing things, and they also provide an opportunity to ask questions. And you should not be shy, because chances are, if you didn't understand something, there are probably 20 people sitting around you who also didn't understand something. Yeah. So you're doing a public service by asking a question.
My struggle was the terms and the words. For example, at the beginning of the show, Karen said that there was an out vet check. Well, all of our vet checks are, she said, in or camp or something like that. I'm going, I have the foggiest idea what she's talking about. So I had to get that defined. But let us jump ahead since we have limited time today and there's so much to talk about. So we go to the meeting. That explains to us how the trail is marked, any footing or condition issues, where the water is. Now, when you actually go out on your ride, explain how the starting process works, because I was totally blown away by this. And maybe it's different for each ride, because in this ride, you went up and you told the timer person, I'm so-and-so, and I'm in such and such division, and I'm about ready to start. And you had to do that within like a half an hour of when you really actually wanted to start. And then when you were actually ready to start, you kind of waved your hand at that person, and then off you went. Help! How does the whole start at the actual starting process work? I got finished with the ride. And I was still confused.
So here's the deal. In general, endurance rides start all the riders at the same time. The reason somebody wanted you to check in is because we need to get a number of horses that are on the trail. So sometimes maybe somebody sits around the campfire and they drink too many beers the night before the ride, and then they don't actually get up and saddle up their horse and go out on the ride. So we don't want to be looking for them out on trail. So that checking in with somebody is generally a safety check. So we know that you are out on trail.
There's a new acronym. Oh, so there's also AWOL.
AWOL, amen. Yes, those happen. Those happen sometimes. So then, as far as the ride start is concerned, different things happen at ride start. So some people will, jump right out and go out with the pack or be at the front of the pack. I generally recommend when people are new to the sport. Sometimes what happens is you are at home and you condition with your friends and you have old Dobbin as a horse, and then you arrive at the ride and 20 horses go galloping out of camp, and you find that you own Secretariat or Justice or Justify. Let's, So there is something to be said. What I always tell people about the start of a ride is that you have to imagine that horses are flight animals and they are prey animals. And so when 20 horses go trotting or cantering or galloping out of camp all at the same time, your sweet, loving horse with whom you have an innate partnership thinks that there is a mountain lion somewhere just directly behind him, and that all of the other horses are leaving camp to avoid the mountain lion. So what I always tell people is that change in character for your horse is really a life or death kind of response for them. They really are thinking that they're going to die. So that's why sometimes they behave in a way that is unexpected. But there's something magical about...
I learned something then. Nigel thinks he's going to die for 9.5 miles.
That is exactly right. But there's something magical, and Karen, you tell me if I'm wrong on this one. There's a rubber band. And this rubber band, when those 20 horses leave camp all in a pack, if you wait long enough for this rubber band to stretch, the rubber band eventually breaks. And all of a sudden, your horse says, oh, okay, they're gone. Nothing bad has happened. All is good with the world. And you saddle up and you swing your leg over and you leave camp on a loose rein. You find that's true too, Karen?
Yeah, usually, yes. And then, except you do sometimes have the other riders that have the same idea of starting late, and then they go flying past you, and now your horse is wound back up again.
Yeah. There's a certain trick to finding. I always joke around about finding a sweet spot.
Sweet spot,
riding.
yes.
So there's always that sort of that magic of, okay, so the herd leaves, the rubber band breaks, but now you want to jump in now because you don't want to wait too long for the people whose horses are really having a bad day to come up running behind.
So it's less of a rubber band and more of a yo-yo. It goes up and down and up and down.
Yes,
it does.
Indeed.
Another acronym. Add that to the list. We're writing a book here, Karen. You better be writing this stuff down.
But once you are on trail, what I tell people is that generally speaking, you just want to ride your ride, and you want to ride about the pace you usually condition at home. And a horse might go, a half a mile an hour faster than they do when you condition them, but you don't want to go twice as fast at a competition than you would at home, because that's going to end badly. A lot of times horses in their first competition, if they're caught up in the pack, they have a lot more heart than brains. And it is our job as the rider to be the brains. And it is not uncommon at all for a horse on its first ride to get caught up at that excitement. And as you're starting the ride, you'll see somebody off the trail to the side, just standing next to their horse that's spinning, whirling, carrying on because the horse just sort of lost his marbles. It can happen. The more time you spend training in groups, the less likely it is to happen, and depending on the temperament of your horse. But the reality is those first few ride starts can be a bit of an adventure if you don't plan for them really, really well.
She saw a video of your start, Jennifer, basically, is what she said.
Did it look like a Belmont steak?
He doesn't break from the gate very well, but he sure likes to stay in the middle of the pack. Let's say that.
It happens. And you just have to remember, did he travel at a pace that was suitable for what you had done conditioning?
Well, wait a minute. Is bouncing a kangaroo a pace? Is that a pace? Is that considered a pace? The kangaroo pace, up and down for 9 miles?
I've ridden that for 24 miles. I had a horse that could canter in place. It was unpleasant. But yes, yeah. And sometimes it's just a matter of just stopping, going back to camp, regrouping, and then trying again. And it also sort of depends on your level of risk tolerance. Like my husband would be like, yeah, I had no brakes for the first loop. Wasn't that awesome? I had the best time, I was just weaving in and out of people. I bounced up a couple of trees. I had a blast.
There we go.
That's not my idea of a good time.
Yeah. Well, see, we are trying this endurance thing, having been longtime fox hunters. So this is actually pretty tame. Yeah.
Yes. This on the risk scale is.
I've survived the start. I've made we will limit this particular conversation to the one loop, since again we have relatively limited time. I've done my loop. I'm about to approach the finish line. Dun 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 dun. Explain to me the process of finishing and what happens after that.
Okay. Now, one must remember always that you've got the option of raising your hand up in the air and saying, I am brand new to this. Somebody tell me what to do. I did that.
Good.
Here's how, in case you actually still have brain cells at the end of the ride and you can remember this conversation, here's how it goes. So the way the finish works, or a vet check works during a ride, is essentially what the first thing you're attempting to do is you come into the in-timer, who happily writes down a time, typically on your vet card. And then the idea here is for the ride to finish.
Okay, we didn't explain what is a vet card.
Okay, so when you registered, I assume that somebody gave you a piece of paper or cardboard that had like quadrants, and these are all in Endurance Essentials. We got photos of them and stuff, but it basically is keeping track of you as a horse rider team throughout the ride. And it is where the veterinarian, it's a report card. It's where the veterinarian writes down, it's all your records go.
Do you carry your report card?
You carry your report card around.
Oh, okay.
Yes, your report card stays with you. And trust me when I say exciting things happen when riders can't find their vet card. So keep a hold of that thing. There's companies that make little bags for them. I carry mine in my pommel pack. There are women who sweat less than me who put them inside their bra. So there's various places.
And then they have to hand it to a veterinarian? Oh, great.
Yeah, right. Trust me, our veterinarians aren't very fussy people. They couldn't be. So everybody's good with the vet card. So you present your vet card when you reach camp or your hold, and somebody will write down the time that you came in. Then the whole name of the game is to get your horse to recover cardiovascularly so that their heart rate reaches a parameter, which could be 64 beats per minute, 60 beats per minute, sort of depends on where you're riding, and it's up to the veterinarian to decide that. But the idea is for you to, most of the time, in a lot of cases, you'll untack your horse because it's hard to have a heart rate recovery when you're wearing your leather jacket. Take off tack. You might cool the horse with water. In the humid northeast, southeast, we might cool the horse with ice water. And the idea is I typically use a stethoscope. And what I'm doing is making sure that I get that horse cooled down and their heart rate recovered. So far, so good? No, I don't hear a horn.
So far, so good. Now, and why are we trying to do this so with such expedience? Why is it important to get this done quickly?
This is an excellent question. So, Jennifer, if you were doing a ride that was simply a one-loop ride, this wouldn't necessarily apply to you. But if you are doing, for example, a 100-mile ride, which my husband and I do, there is an old saying that says rides are won or lost as a result of pulsing down. So in other words, if my husband comes to the in-timer and another rider comes to the in-timer at the same time, but we are really good at cooling down our horse and getting that heart rate down, and the other horse is having a difficult time with that heart rate recovery, we can get ahead of that horse even though we arrived at the same time.
So it's not the break there is not a mandatory time. You're going to be in there. Everybody's in there for 30 minutes. It's when your horse is ready, you can book.
Yes. The term that they use, Glenn, is called a gait into a hold. And the gait is really your heart rate.
Okay.
So in other words, it could take you 10 minutes to reach that heart rate. Then you cross into the gate, and then you have that mandatory 30-minute hold. Or let's say we have a fabulous horse, and we come into the in-timer, pull off the saddle, and 1 minute later, that horse reaches the heart rate. He's gotten his gait into the hold, and then his 30 minutes starts. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the gate. So if it takes you 30 minutes to get the horse's heart rate down, now you're in there for an hour. And somebody else may be out in 35 minutes. Yeah.
Actually, there is a rule that you must pulse down in 30 minutes.
Okay. So if it takes 35 minutes, you're which acronym
pulled.
is that?
You're disqualified.
Yeah. Okay. You're DQ.
Qualified. Right.
Yeah.
You are DQ'd, another acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're practicing our acronyms today.
So we got the gate into the hold concept. And now you take your piece of paper called your vet card.
Vet card.
And Jennifer, excellent. And you proceed to the person who is taking heart rates or pulses. And they will, in fact, confirm with a stethoscope or a heart rate monitor that your horse is recovered to the parameter. So if your horse is not, you go back, you cool your horse some more. But generally speaking, you go in, you check before you go, and your horse has reached the heart rate parameter. Now that gait into the hold time has started. So like Glenn's example of 30 minutes, now you've got 30 minutes. During that 30 minutes, at some point during that 30 minutes, you have to take your horse to the veterinarian with your paper
Vet card.
Vet card.
Vet card.
And the veterinarian will do a veterinary exam, much like the one you had before the ride, to check and make sure that the horse is metabolically fit to continue and also isn't displaying any lameness. So you get that vet exam during your 30 minutes, and then the rest of your 30 minutes is for you and your horse to eat, drink, pee, all of those, the EDPP. Have you talked about EDPP?
Yay! Eat, drink, pee, poop. Yay! We learned that one.
Correct. So that is your hold time.
Got it.
Following?
So I'm following. So when you come in and you raise your hand, you get the timer writes down your time. Mm-hmm. Really, the clock keeps ticking on your cumulative time that's going to give you your score at the end of the competition until the vet says, yep, you fall within the parameters of pulse. The 30-minute hold there, everybody gets that same 30 minutes. So that is irrelevant as far as, because everybody does that.
Correct.
Right?
But really,
okay, so
if you think about it as though, as far as the ride is concerned, you are still almost on trail until that horse reaches the pulse. So in other words, the only real time that counts is when your horse reaches that heart rate parameter. And the only reason that in time is important is because, like Karen had said, if we have a horse that isn't recovering its heart rate within 30 minutes, that's a sign of a real problem. And so you'll be disqualified. But really, you may as well be standing out on the trail as standing there icing your horse off. That gait starts when the horse reaches the pulse parameter.
Okay, so you've gone through the gate, you've pulsed out, the veterinarian has signed off on your horse in that he is either A, ready to continue, or let's assume it's the end of the ride, B, he finished the ride in good health and doesn't get a disqualification. What happens to the vet card once he's done that final sign-off?
Excellent question. Most of the time, what will happen is the ride manager or the ride secretary will want to keep that card, at least for some period of time, so that they can get all of their results and the time and all the information they need from that card to send to the AERC, who will keep your records. So in other words, they need to get that information from that card, and then some ride managers will give the veterinary card back to you at the award ceremony or when you go to leave, because it's a great way of tracking your horse's progress. You get to see what the veterinarian saw and wrote down during the exam.
Or a lot of us will just take a picture of our vet card at the end.
Great. That's a great idea. Yes.
I framed mine.
Yes. You framed yours.
It's the only time we're ever going to get an A. It's never going to happen again. It finishes to win. I win.
It is really, I have to say, for new people, I think that when people come to the clinics, the things they're most frightened of are, am I ready to camp? And the horses usually do really great with that. Is my horse in condition enough? And then they get really overwhelmed by the logistics.
Well, and you've been terrific at explaining this. You really have, and thanks for being a good sport as we had a little fun along the way.
It was a pleasure to speak with all of you, and it really is. We always tell people, hey, listen, the hardest part of doing your first endurance ride, it's really signing up, and I think Jennifer is living proof of that one. Signing up is the hard part, and once you commit to doing that, really, the pieces all sort of fall in place, and we are happy to help however we can. Karen is a tremendous source of help, and everybody else. As long as you use your outside voice and ask, we're all ready to help.
Heavy new blankets, bulky coolers, tubs of supplements, even prescription items, all no problem at Chewy. At Chewy, every order over $49 ships free, so you can stock up on everything your horse needs for fall and winter without the heavy lifting. Order online or in the app and let Chewy deliver the right things to your barn fast, free, and hassle-free, so you can spend more time enjoying the fall and winter rides with your horse. Start shopping now at chewy.com/equine.
Now, we had a chance yesterday to catch up with another one of the long list of United States riders heading to the Mongol Derby. And she also happens to be an endurance rider, right?
Exactly. We talked to Heather Accardo, whose nickname is Flash. And she's been riding endurance for a few years now and has 1,200 miles and is going to the Mongol Derby this summer.
So this year we're trying to get as many of the United States competitors on that are heading to the Derby to find out why they're crazy enough to do that. So, and then we'll be doing our coverage there as well during the Mongol Derby. Well, we'll be doing the coverage here. I'm not going to Mongolia. So I don't think the internet's reliable enough, and I would be sick the entire time with the fermented mare's milk. So here's our interview with Heather.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Well, let's start out with a little bit about your riding history. How did you get involved in riding horses?
I was fortunate enough that my mom made sure I always had a horse to ride growing up. She was unable to have a horse when she was little, and so she always made sure I had something to ride. And I grew up doing a little bit of everything. I did some speed events. I did a little bit of Western pleasure. I did some English, hunter jumper. And then when I was a teenager, I started riding with a friend of mine. She was conditioning for endurance, and I kind of fell in love with it. And so one day when I get older and I have the time and money, that's what I want to do. So for the past 5 years, I have been competing in endurance, and it's one of the best things that I've ever done.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get your nickname Flash?
That's an interesting story. I love to run. And so when I was competing at a trail competition one year, one of the other riders' husbands always saw me running. And he said, if I keep seeing you running, I'm just going to start calling you Flash, because I would like pop up here and there. And then the next thing he knew, I was somewhere else. So the name just kind of stuck.
Well, it's a good name when you're an endurance rider or a competitor of any kind, actually, right?
I guess so. Yes, sir.
Do you have a costume with a cape?
I have a shirt that has like the Flash on it.
Oh, yeah, good.
So.
We're going to have to make sure you have something for the Mongol Derby. Definitely.
That's an idea. Yeah. Then I'll have to live up to it.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so tell us more about this Mongol Derby thing you've got planned. How did that come about?
Yeah, I've been following it for years, and it was just something that was fascinating to me. And I thought, one day I'm going to do it. And then a couple years ago, Tim Finley participated, and I kind of chatted with him. He's like, you should just do it. And so last year was kind of a strange year. A couple people that I knew passed away, and just some crazy things happened. And I thought, what am I waiting for? So on a whim, I just applied, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to get in. They have thousands of applicants every year. There's no way. But at least I applied, and I did what I could do. And then, of course, I was shocked when I got in. I mean, I was like, well, I have to accept now, because I'll never get this opportunity
They're
again.
always looking for superheroes. You were guaranteed to get in.
That's what it was.
So you get accepted, and then what did you think? And what did the rest of your family and friends think when they found out?
So I was actually on an endurance ride. I was riding my horse, and I checked my phone. I checked my email. And so I got the email saying I was in. I just started screaming on my horse. And there was a couple of the riders around me looking at me like, what is wrong with her? I was just so excited I couldn't hold it in. So that's actually how I found out. I mean, all my friends are super supportive, and there was a few that way before I even thought I would get in, said, you're going to get in for sure. So they had way more confidence than I did.
So have you been on a super mission to research everything you can? You've watched all the wild horses and watched every video?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yep. Tim has been really instrumental in giving me a lot of good information. He sent me his pack that he used in 2016. So I'm using his pack, and so thank goodness for him. And I have been working out like crazy. I've done some ultra marathons, and I do a couple every year. So I've done I haven't done 100 miles yet, but I've done 50K, 50 miles, and I'm doing the P90X program, trying to work on my upper body strength. So trying to get as fit as possible.
Well, what are you doing for your stomach? We could have some of the fermented mare's milk shipped over to you.
Yeah. About that. I know at some point I'm going to have to try it because I don't want to be rude, and that would be rude not to accept. But yeah, I'm just going to wait and wait on that, because maybe they won't offer it to me. Maybe I'll get lucky.
How about goat? How do you feel about goat?
Well, actually, I joke about it, but I'm actually up for anything.
Good.
I've tried some really weird things, so I think I'll be okay. I'm pretty good at surviving, so I actually don't think it's going to be a problem. I like to try new things. I like to experience new cultures, so I'm excited about it.
Well, you definitely will be doing that. We talked to Devin Horn this morning. It's her yesterday morning, and it's you can hear that. If everybody missed it, just head over to Horses in the Morning for Monday, and you'll hear her. So she's really spending a lot of time this year on nutrition because she got violently ill the last time she did it. So she's spending a lot more time in nutrition and really planning what she's going to eat. I think that's something, and also obviously you have to be physically fit, but it's interesting. And I don't know what your friend said, but one of the things they say is the physical sucks. I mean, you're worn down and really worn down, but the mental side is the hardest. Did he say the same thing?
He just told me no matter what happens to not complain. He said, everyone else is going to be doing enough of that. And so I don't need to do that.
That's what I teach my junior riders. No whining allowed.
There you go. It doesn't make it any better. And I'm there for the experience, good and bad. And I really think running ultras helps me prepare mentally, because there's times when it really sucks. It really sucks. And it's a very, very mental thing. And you think you just can't do it anymore, and you just keep going, and all of a sudden you finish. So you just keep having to push, and you'll eventually get there. So I'm going to kind of go in with that mentality. Just never give up and never complain.
You do have a definite advantage if you're running ultras and in super shape, because you obviously have to be to ride 7 days on Crazy Ponies. Yeah. And they did say the direction's changing this year, so the course is changing this year a good bit. They're heading a total different direction. So,
wow, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so the terrain is going to be different, and than it was before, and the finish line is at the opposite. Like they were going east before, now they're going west. I mean, it's a total different direction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I did talk to them a little while ago. It's no secret that they said they want to mix it up this year. So you're going to be in a good year where everybody's on a level playing field, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that way nobody knows where they're going. So maybe I can halfway keep up with Devin. We'll see.
Well, no, have you got any experience riding with the GPS? Have you done that at all?
I have been practicing, yes. I have a GPS, and I've been practicing using it. Honestly, not very good at it. But I'm actually racing with a partner, so I figure between both of us, we will figure it out.
And who's your partner? Give a plug.
My partner is Michael Gaskin. I don't know.
I know Michael. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was even riding this year.
He is. And he actually invited me to his ranch about a month ago, and we spent, he doesn't know anything about endurance. So we spent the morning, we brought our competition horses. He got a little taste of that. And then I spent the afternoon. He's really good at breaking wild horses, and he's a phenomenal horseman. So I got a little taste of what he did. And so at the end of the day, he joked. He said, I just kind of wanted to make sure you could ride a horse. And I said, well, I wanted to make sure I could put up with you for a week. So.
Yeah, that's another thing. But you know what, too? If anybody is going, who's Michael? Well, everybody saw the video of the dinosaur riding the Pasofino, that's Michael. Everybody saw that video in the whole world. So you saw that video a while back. You know who Michael is. And actually, I met him at Road to the Horse. He was there doing demonstrations at Road to the Horse. And he's a good person to have on your side because you're riding pretty wild ponies, and he kind of gets wild ponies. So...
yeah, we thought that we both bring strings to the table because I'm familiar with make sure our horses pass the vet checks, getting their heart rate down, and making sure we're riding within their ability. And then he's good at dealing with the wild horses. So hopefully between the two of us, we can manage to get through this thing. Well,
it's interesting too that he's never done endurance. I mean, that's interesting too. But usually people have had some experience with endurance, of some kind before they go do it. What's the thing that most concerns you going into it? Is there something that worries you, or
one word? Diarrhea.
Back to the fermented mare's milk again.
I mean, honestly, it's not the crazy horses. It's not sleeping out wherever. It's not getting lost. It's not getting drugged to death. It's not getting bit by wild dogs. It's what am I going to do when I'm riding this crazy horse and I eat something that doesn't agree with me?
And as Leslie learned last year, she got off her horse because her horse was being good, and 2 seconds later, her horse was gone. All of her equipment, everything, her phone. Things can happen that quickly. So, yeah, getting off your horse is not the favorite thing to do once you're on it.
Stay on it.
You're allowed 11 pounds in your pack. She's going to have 10.5 pounds of Imodium in there.
Pretty much. I want to make sure I'm prepared. It doesn't matter if I don't have enough to eat.
That's
or
right.
Don't have anything to sleep on.
Are you going to pack food? That's a good question, actually.
I am. I have some emergency rations of the runner's goop, which is very high calorie. Yep. It's got B vitamins. It's got electrolytes. It's got caffeine. And it's death by chocolate. So I've got caffeine, I've got chocolate, I'm good. Oh, good. That's all I need.
Perfect.
Now, have you got very much experience starting, young frisky horses or riding horses that are not fully, trained?
I will have experience in a couple weeks. I'm going back to Michael's ranch, and we're going to focus on he's going to bring out some young horses and just help me learn how to deal with some of their behavior that they may give us. So, but I have started some of my own horses, but it's probably a little bit different than the horses we're going to ride. So he's going to help me, and he helped me so much the first time I was there, just my body position and things you don't even think of. Even it doesn't matter how long you've been riding, you can always learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
Does Michael realize these horses aren't gated? I'm just checking.
You know what? No, probably not. But he'll learn real soon. I will have to say, though, he rode a couple of our competition horses. We put on about 15 miles when we were there just to kind of give him a little taste. And he did really well. And he was actually posting. I was quite surprised. And he rode my friend's 100-mile horse. And he was just amazed at the fitness of these horses. So he got a little taste of it. And hopefully that helps him prepare a bit.
Very good. Well, we wish you the best of luck. We're going to be watching, and we'll be doing daily wrap-up shows, so we'll definitely be following your progress. We'll be following your dot every night, and we'll keep everybody up to date on your dot.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're so excited for you. When do you leave?
I'm leaving August the 1st.
Okay.
And that'll give me a couple days there just to relax. And actually, a funny story, the local newspaper did an article of my adventure coming up, and a lady contacted me from Mongolia. She's originally from Donaldsonville, which is a town close to where I live. And so, long story short, she's going to pick me up from the airport. Her family's going to take me to dinner one night, take me sightseeing. So I'll have a friendly face when I get there.
Oh, that's so cool. Talk about small world, huh?
It is.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Well, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, or I should say Flash. And good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think she's going to do just fine. Don't you, Karen?
I think so too. This is going to be exciting to be able to follow everybody this year since we're going to know so many of them.
And, I wanted to ask you, I forgot earlier to ask you, you had your junior rider, 11 years old. She went out and without you right beside her on her first 50 miler, was she using Renegade boots?
Yes, she was, and it was really kind of cool because I was crewing. So I didn't have to get up and tack up a horse and get ready. And so I set the alarm 45 minutes ahead of when she needed to be ready to start. And darn it, that kid was ready in 15 minutes. She was so excited. She had Bo completely tacked up. She had all 4 of his Renegade boots on. And
so they're
worked
simple enough for an
beautifully
11-year-old to put them on?
Exactly. All by herself. I don't even have to check her. She's been using them now for the last year or more. And so she has no trouble putting them on. They're easy enough for her. And they work beautifully on Bo, of course. They went through, from what she told me, some of the sand was so deep coming down some of the hills, the horses were sinking almost up to their knees in it.
Oh my gosh.
But they also were going through a bunch of hard-packed rocky stuff, and the boots worked just beautifully for her. And then when she was finished, she took them off and cleaned them up and put them back in the trailer so they're ready to go the next time we ride.
So where can people find them?
They can go to renegadehoofboots.com, and I was just looking on their site. They have a link now to videos, so you can go and look at the videos showing the boots in action, showing how to size and install.
Yeah, the
as well as
sizing is
adjust the
something that I
boots.
think confuses people when they first get their first boots. So that's something you definitely want to watch the video for.
Exactly. Very useful and helpful stuff there. Very timely, like you said, the sizing is everything. The nice thing with the Renegades is they don't need to be tight. If they're hard to put on, then they're probably not the right size. They should be easy to use.
So, the other thing about boots that people worry about is that you just get your horse trimmed, and now we're 4 weeks in and he's due in another week or two to get trimmed again. Is the boot still going to fit with his feet having grown out?
Well, that's the beauty of it, that they don't have to be so snug or tight like some other brands do. So that I don't have a problem going, if I do end up going weeks in between any kind of trimming, the boots still seem to work beautifully on both of my horses. So we're real happy with them.
Terrific. And it's Renegade. You can find those online at
renegadehoofboots.com.
renegadehoofboots.com. And is your picture still on the homepage?
It is going up Cougar Rock on Tevis with 4 strap-on Renegade boots.
So if you want to see Karen in all her glory going vertical, that's it right there. Hey, and I did just hear from Haley, who's one of our auditors, that said she just watched All the Wild Horses on iTunes, and I went and looked, and it is available on iTunes now. So if you have an iTunes account and want to watch All the Wild Horses about Mongol Derby, then you can find it. It's $4.99 to rent and $9.99 to buy. So for $5, you can go have an evening's entertainment, and I guarantee, she said, so good. So she really liked it, and I think you're going to too. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't, but I'm
there
going
you go.
to now.
iTunes,
Sure.
$4.99 to rent it. Definitely check it out, All the Wild Horses. And that was Ivo Marlowe who did that. He directed and produced it, and he rode along for this whole thing. So he had ridden in the race before, and then he came back to film it and with his crew, and you're going to see a little bit about what happened to them, too. So that's coming up if you want to check that out. Well, thank you for the Endurance 101, Karen.
Sure. It was
Jennifer,
fun.
Jennifer, do you get something out of it? You're good now?
I feel better now. I
Ready for your
understand a little bit
second
more.
ride? Ready for the second endurance ride?
Yeah.
You're going to go 50 in the second now?
Maybe third.
You're going to go 30 miles instead of 15?
No. Yeah.
50 miles, maybe.
Can we
100?
switch riders? Can we do a tag team?
Yeah, there you go. See, I told you.
That's called ride and tie.
Yeah, I told you it's not the horse.
Oh, there we go.
It was more the rider.
That's another acronym. RAT, R-A-T, ride and tie.
Oh, so they're called rats?
Oh, well, there we go.
Oh, they're called rats.
It's a rat
That's
race.
funny.
Here we go.
It's a rat race. Pretty good. All right. So before we become DAs at the end of this episode, we're going to call it a day. If you want to find all the past episodes of Endurance, you can go to horsesinthemorning.com. Just scroll down the middle of the page. You can see a little icon for Endurance. It'll bring up all the past episodes. There's a lot of them you can listen to, probably 5-6 years worth now. Karen's hung around. She just never quit. She just forgot to quit. She's still here all these years later. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks. Have a good ride, everyone.